Hello, Robert. How are you? No panic attack, Robert. You won't need the Mike Clark book for at least another 5 lessons or so. Hopefully you'll have it by then. If not, I will wait to the beginning of the week or until everyone else who are members bought the book, have the book. What I'm going to do is introduce you to the book. Hi, Stacy. Beautiful day out. So, we'll wait for a few other people to come in, and we'll talk about Mr. Mike Clark. Now, Mike Clark and I are really good friends, and Mike Clark does come here, and, we hang out. He'll do a lesson, or we'll both exchange ideas, which I think is a good idea. It's good. When you have somebody like that who's that visible in the drum community, and besides being visible, how well he can play. Originally, he contacted me to come and take a few lessons, and I said, whoa, what does this man want with me? So I talked to him a little bit, and we just exchanged ideas. But he does come down here. He's going to be doing a show as soon as all this stuff is gone, and a few other shows we got lined up. Okay? Now, with his book, didn't you say that already? Oh, Seth. How you doing, Seth? I'm sorry. How you doing, Stacy? What happens with this book is he's going to take it on a different level. You see, there's so much involved with understanding how to control your limbs is what we've been working on. Taking a straight ahead jazz pattern like this, and that's considered a straight ahead jazz pattern. Okay, when I say, let me hear an open pattern, well, there's no set pattern to have as an open pattern. What happens with an open pattern, you're playing actually the melody, or you're complementing the melody with the right hand. That's, how you doing, Hoist? How you doing, Jim? We're talking about Mike Clark, Stacy. All right, well, Jimmy, not everybody has the book. I must have got 50 emails last night. I don't have the book, panic, boom, boom, boom. Well, you don't need the book right now, but it's good to have if you have it. Okay? And this is a different level entirely. Well, not entirely, because you learned the straight ahead jazz time. I'll go back to that. It's a simple pattern. We're going to discuss an open time today in comparison to that. And that's basically what Mike has a lot of that in his book. But he does give some very good advice. And it's like every musician that I know, when you ask him, he gives you the same advice, which is, listen, you want to be a jazz musician. There's nothing wrong with being a cover tune musician, or a heavy metal drummer, or whatever you want to call those guys. This is an art. Jazz is an art form. It's the American music, okay? There is absolutely no one way to play it correct, except for one fact: follow the rules. Now, we all need to understand, what are the rules? Well, first, you have to understand the concept of jazz. The sections of a tune, the norm is A, A, B, A. The norm is 32 measures, or 12-bar blues. Now, you follow those rules, you maintain those rules, you're allowed to do anything you would like with inside the melody, or to complement the other musicians who are comping, or they're taking a solo on their verse. Everybody follows the melody all the time. Now, I've been in situations where, people say, anytime you can play, play. All right? You get invited up on stage to play, you play. whether it's an accordion band or a tuba band or a jazz band or a wedding band or whatever. Anytime you have the opportunity to sit behind your drums and play music, do it. That is the best teacher in the world. That tells you, okay, what needs work, where you're at. So, you know, if you want to be a jazz musician, listen to jazz. Now, for those who have not listened to jazz, I would highly recommend Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Art Blakely, Dizzy Gillespie, Max Roach, and I could sit here for an hour and talk to you about it. But I would start with Charlie Parker tunes first, because he does maintain the 32 bars over and over again. If you hum the melody, even if when you're listening, listen a few times, and if you have the sheet music, if you do, hum it according to the sheet music. It's best not to have the sheet music and try to hum the melody. That's like when you listen to something over and over again, you remember the words. Well, that's the attitude or the approach you need to take with a jazz tune. Now, when you're listening, and if you want to count the measures, you're going to find there's 32 measures. And that rule, A, A, B, A, is done twice. That is considered the head. Okay? So that goes around twice. Then the improvs start. Whatever instrumentation you have, guitar, piano, sax, bass, drums, whatever it might be. The first person is going to take a solo off the melody. In the meantime, the rest of the musicians are comping off the melody. And that's where we're going today. But I'm not going to give you a melody because suggest a tune eventually as you learn it over and over again. Just listen to it over and over again. Not that you have nightmares about it, but it's a part of your system. And you can just hum it right through. You know, there's so many different tunes. Hello, Dennis. Okay? So that's what we're after. Kind of concept. Now, we've had I told you I don't really work at it, a Jim Chapin book, because I think it's kind of stiff. Just, you know, because of the, what do you call it, the graphics. You know, he explains this and shows you how triplets go against it. We've done the Gary Shafee book with the possibilities of a triplet, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Combinations from the stick control book formula, a few different combinations using that jazz pattern. That's considered the straight ahead jazz pattern. Now, we're going to talk about an open time. Now, open time means, you know, you don't go out of the box and go to outer space and try to come back. You can, as long as you maintain the rules. But the thing that Mike explains a lot, you know, you're playing just a straight ahead. First, he starts off very simple. And then he talks about feathering the bass drum. I like to play my bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4 when I'm not accenting. 1, 2, you just barely hit it. Okay, now, open time. When I play an open time, I'm thinking melody. But there's a lot of possibilities of that open time. And that's where exercising and understanding of the pattern come into view, not the improv. Okay? Do we all understand what I just said? Yes? No? Help? Maybe? By chance? Gary Shafee gives an explanation, a very basic explanation in his books, in the pattern series of open time. What does that no mean? I forgot. What does that mean? Okay, the Gary Shafee does a good explanation. Like, this is the straight ahead time. Now, you want to restrict yourself to a straight time, but it's open. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. I could play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So I'm not laying it down. I could play it open. But like I said, usually what I do, I don't really practice that. I play that. I play that to the melody. I have strength here where I have control. Now, we're going to start a series of lessons where we're going to take one of Mike Clark's patterns that he has, or he calls them jazz beats. We argue about that, but that's okay. It's a jazz pattern. Okay? All right, and the open time, the time exists. Now, don't get confused here. When you're playing open time, if you hear 1, 2, 3, 4, that's your time. Now, inside of that time, if I restrict myself to a straight ahead jazz pattern, 1, over and over again, that's a straight ahead jazz pattern. Now I'm going to play that again. I'm going to open the time and you'll hear the difference, but I'm still in time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. My right hand is all over the place. I don't have any set pattern for that. What I do, like I said, when I play that open time, I'm trying to have a conversation with the other musicians in the band, plus I am maintaining the melody to that pattern. And whatever ideas I get from the interaction with the other musicians playing something. That's called an open time. Do you understand that, Robert? When playing the melody, okay, well, I told you before, you weren't here. I'm not going to do a melody unless, I'll play a very common melody. Everybody know the tune, Milestones. Bump, 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 boo, bang. We all know that? Okay. Now, we're going to do that. We're going to do the open time with a melody. If we understand, we all understand that tune. If not, what you should do after the lesson, get on the YouTube, look up Miles Davis, Milestones. Get that tune going on in your brain, and we'll play it. Without the music, of course, because I can't do that, only because of the fact that YouTube will shut me down. Copyright infringement. Okay? You know the tune? All right. For everyone's sake, especially Dennis, because he requested it. Now, I'm going to play the head. See, if you listen to Miles Davis, Miles is out there, man. He plays all kinds of crazy shit, man, which is great shit. But when he does Milestones, if you get the recording, he tags on an additional 8 in the beginning. So you're going to get confused. So he goes dump, 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 doo bow. And he'll do that 3 times as opposed to 2 times. But he just introduces that, and then once it hits after the first time, then the form of the music will begin. A, B, A. So the A is, I'm going to play quarter notes. Bump, 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 ba, dee, da, doo. Bump, 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 be do be. Da 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 da. He only plays that one time. But you got the first 2 A's and the first B, the 1 B. Then it goes back to the A. So what I'm doing, I'm just relaxing that. Now, I'm not playing, I'm just playing time. Now, I'm gonna lay down, bump, 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 bump. Bridge, ba da should be playing time there, do it twice. But that's a little bit of improvising against the melody. You see, I'm not going da 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 da. 2, 3, 4, da da. Open time, da 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 da. You play whatever you want within the melody, as long as it doesn't interfere with anyone else, and that comes through experience of playing. Now, we're going to work with some brushwork. Mike, like I said, gives great advice. The key element to playing jazz, okay, is listening. You always listen. Listen, listen, listen. I've been caught in the act sometimes at a jam session. Go up on this drum set, first off an uncomfortable drum set, number one. Number two, they call a melody, don't even say it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I said, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I don't know I don't know the tune. Okay, so I try to do my best. I know there's sections in every 8 measures. There's going to be some sort of change. So I might count it, or I might listen and listen and listen. But being a seasoned player, after you play the tune a couple times, it goes through, you'll pick it up. That comes through training, through practicing, through listening, and listening and listening and listening. It's so hard to teach something without music. And I'm trying desperately to get a bass player in here. It's not easy, but it will happen. And maybe Gary Shafee, we're going to contact each other and maybe set up a date for him to sit right here. I think that would be awesome. But anyway, I want to dedicate this to Mike Clark. And Mike Clark is an awesome musician, great ideas. And if you look through the book, you're going to see some very highly technical patterns. And we're going to go over them. There's drum solos in there. I'm going to play it for you from his book. Then I'm going to break it down. And then we're going to interact with the melody, playing the drum solo. You'll get a better understanding. But you need to play A, B, A. No other way. You could play one note through the whole head. You might not keep the gig, but you're not wrong. Okay? The melody's going on. 2 times the head. The improvs. Who knows how many improvs? You give the improv, the first one, to the sax player, he might be saying something. He might take 10 courses. The courses is the whole tune. Okay? And then he'll give it to somebody else, maybe the guitar player, and then the piano player, then the bass player. Then if there's a solo with the drummer, you want to give him 32 bars or 64 bars or twice that or whatever. Everybody comes back together because everybody is thinking the same. Inside of the improvs, the rest of the band is comping over the soloist. But that comp is the melody. And that's where the open time comes in. And we're going to discuss that in detail, but not today. I just want to introduce you to Mr. Mike Clark's book. It's a great book, man. I didn't go play all the figures, but I read it. And actually, that's good reading, man. That's my friend Joe Bergamini. He wrote all of it, of course, with Mike Clark, but I mean, it was put together really well. And there's a disc with it, and you'll hear Mike do all of this stuff. So, I mean, it's really a great book. And for those who don't have it, please get it. It's well worth the price. Yeah, well, you could. That's Mike's suggestions. That's listening devices. But I'm just telling you what I would. If you don't know anything about jazz, I mean, anything to listen to is great. That's beside the point. But I'm trying to give you a stepping stone, and that stepping stone is if you listen to Charlie Parker, John